all the way down the Lottery, and they'll have another 18 kilometers on that road. If it's tailwind like today, good place to attack.
Well, it's not going to be tailwind, I hate to tell you. I think it's most likely going to be headwind on the Lottery, which I was alluding to there at the end. That's about 18 kilometers, pretty wide open, not that technical. You're going to need a lot of energy still in the legs if you are by yourself. You have to be a completely dominant rider. You may have to be a rider more like Marcel Kittel, really, who just abandoned the race. You have to be a big guy, very strong, to stay off the front of the peloton by yourself. So I think that's definitely an advantage to a bigger group staying together and really maybe having a little bit of sprint. So, but again, all bets are off. That climb is so long. The record up there is 1 hour and 22 minutes. That's a long time. And if Bob and I were to do it today, it would probably be 2 hours and 22 minutes. So these guys, to go that kind of speed, already Alberto Contador set a new record on the Croix de Fer, fastest time ever on the ascent. So we can maybe see some more records going down, but I think that was definitely assisted with a very nice tailwind. But again, this wind is swirling, a little bit of storms. We saw a little bit of wind earlier, a little bit of rain, but look at this Trek Segafredo team on the attack on the front here. 3 minutes and 15 seconds. Bob and I are talking about off screen about how close Team Sky has been keeping this, and it's really been the work of just one person. Vasily Kirienka on the front. He's been pulling for almost an hour and a half all by his lonesome. Incredible workload for one person. The three Mikes are sitting in the wings. They haven't done a touch of work. Sky's looking very strong. So is Darth Vader.
I mean, Contador starts the stage 7 minutes, 10 seconds behind. It's obviously a Trek Segafredo exploit to get a stage win for Contador, and I'm really surprised to see Sky keeping the advantage to the breakaway pretty close, right around 3 minutes. Climb, descent, they're going to need way more than that at the bottom of the Telegraph to stay away to the finish line.
Oh, easily, Bobby. I mean, I'm thinking if they let out the hounds, especially with Mikel Landa, if he's unleashed, oh my goodness. I mean, that 3 minutes will be evaporated in 5 kilometers.
Less than 10 minutes to the start of the Telegraph here at stage 17. Main stories: Marcel Kittel has dropped out. Alberto Contador is attacking, and there's Chris Froome tossing things from his bag. Back to live coverage of stage 17 after this.
Welcome back as we look the long straight road. Keep going down this road. You'll wind up in Italy today as we head towards Turin. Just for the moment on today's stage of the Tour de France. The yellow jersey group is being held but not getting any closer. 3:25 to that leading group of 24 rides. Well, there is the president, Emmanuel Macron, who is seeing his first Tour de France as president of the Republic of France. Being picked up, he'll probably come down to the finish.
A funny little factoid, Phil. In fact, the president of France, Emmanuel Macron, is younger than Haimar Zubeldia, who's actually in the race.
Yes, he's 39 years of age and president of France, and Zubeldia is 40 and has announced this will be his last season. Team Sky are doing all they can here. This peloton being dragged towards the slopes of the Telegraph, which really is a stepping stone onto the Galibier. There is going to be attacks from this group then. Let's have a look at the profile.
Yes, well, as we've gone through the feeding station, I always really regard that final little lump there to the right-hand side, the Col du Telegraph and the Col du Galibier, as a single climb. We're about 4 kilometres, 2.5 miles away from starting the Col du Telegraph. There's a little bit of respite in the middle, not much, around about 4 kilometres, slightly downhill into the outskirts of the little city of the little village of Valois, but it's pretty much uphill for about 25 miles.
Yes, nice valley road this. We've been through Saint-Julien-Mont-Denis, but when we come back, we'll be heading to the Col du Telegraph. It was in the very first Tour de France stage in 1911 when it came in to the Alps. Today, the Tour de France hit the high Alps for the first of 2 epic mountain stages. 4 men, separated by a mere 30 seconds, are facing off to determine if Froome will still be in yellow by Paris. Oh, there's a crash. The green jersey is down. Marcel Kittel Stage 17 brought early carnage, and the green jersey holder with 5 stage wins this tour abandoned the race.
Alberto Contador, well, he's not scared of the distance.
And the 2-time champion is hoping his attack will result in a tour-redeeming stage win. Will the overall contenders catch him? The final 2 climbs remain, and the action heats up on the ascent to the Col du Telegraph. Yes, and that's where we're headed now. Flat roads for the moment, bound directly towards Italy down the valley there. There's the profile, road ID. We're heading to the base of the Telegraph. How long did you tell me, Paul, from the Telegraph to the top of the Galibier?
Well, if you bolt the 2 climbs together, Phil, it's 35 kilometres. That's about 24 miles of ascent. This is Jarlens-Pantano on the front in 3rd position. A little bit of a grimace on the face of Alberto Contador, a stage winner into Le Puy-en-Velay there. Bauke Mollema in 2nd position. They're setting this up as much as they can for Alberto Contador to get that stage victory.
Well, he's been going at it so hard since we came over the Croix de Fer. He's got behind him Bauke Mollema. There's the famous names in the Tour de France, the Col de Galibier and the Col du Telegraph. These are the Contador, Felu, Pauwels, Mollema, Galopin, Roche, Navarro, Kieselowski, Frank, Pantano. As we start the climb there, 11.9, that's the top of the Telegraph. Roglic, all good climbers in here. Thomas de Gent wants to improve his 2nd place in the King of the Mountains. But, you know, there's no doubt, Paul, the way these boys from track are riding, we are going to see a big attack coming from Contador.
Yeah, don't get deceived by the fact that it says the first climb is just 12 kilometres longer. And Jarlens-Pantano, Phil, job done. He pulled himself inside out for a good 20-25 kilometres. And he's still got to stay in the race. He's still got to get to the top of this climb. But for him, it's all trying to set something up for Alberto Contador. Now it's the turn of Bauke Mollema to do the next stage.
Now it's Bauke's turn, and hopefully Contador will be able to ride away. Now, we go from the Col de Telegraph, small descent, onto the climb of the Galibier. Once over the top of the Galibier, we switch to the Col de Lauteret to drop down to the finish. And it'll be a flying finish straight into the line. Contador knows if he can get away on the Galibier, he should win in Serre Chevalier.
Yeah, what he'd really like to do, we're looking here at another rider getting left behind as we start to the early slopes of this climb, and this rider is the man who really lit up the early part of the race, Thomas de Gent. His job done. He's moved himself into 2nd place in the King of the Mountains. But Alberto Contador, I think, Phil, will set his sights and see that the finish at the top of the Col du Galibier almost as the finish line, because from the top of the Col du Galibier, it's all downhill to the finish line.
Yeah, about 28 kilometres. We have just a slight rise to bring them up to the actual line in the town. But we'll see just who makes the move and what's going to happen back in the yellow jersey group. It looks like the president, Emmanuel Macron, now picked him up from the helicopter. He's now all set to follow the Tour de France to its end today.
Yes, I have to wonder why I saw so many gentlemen around the zone technique at the finish line today wearing blazers and little earpieces. Now we know, don't we?
Now we know, and he's on his way to join us at the finishing line here. As they're seeing quite an extraordinary race again, a double race, one for the stage win and one for the yellow jersey. Chris Froome, remember, only has 18 seconds lead over Aru, 23 over Bardet, 29 over Rouen. It's never been like this in the history of any Tour de France. One after another, they're going off the back. This is now Rudy Mollard. We've already lost from the race Thibaut Pinot. He retired from the race. Watch this. Well, this man has so much bad luck in this year's Tour. All the work, all the tactics, and he needs a bike. Or is he changing to a bike? I guess this was not planned.
No, because this is taking too long. This was not planned.
No.
I saw him getting onto the radio a few moments ago.
Yeah, well, they're saying the bike with a duplicate number on, exactly the same position, and he's away again. He's had some really bad luck in this race, Alberto. Coupled up with his not great form, he's lost time. So far, he's lost 7 minutes and 10 seconds.
Yeah, but just have a quick look here. He's on the radio. He's pressing the button to talk to the team car, and he's probably trying to set up for a quick bike change.
I can't see anything wrong with his bike, but there must be.
Well, you don't stop them. You know, Alberto Contador, he's a professional bike racer. He's been professional for a long time. He knows exactly what he needs to do. But, I mean, you don't normally stop like this at the side of the road. You wait for the team car to be right up alongside you, unless it's urgent.
Absolutely right.
The other problem is, if we get a chance to look down at his bike, Phil, we're starting the climb. There are no bottles on his bike currently.
And you're not supposed to take bottles on a climb. Oh, this is Kirienka's gone. Kirienka has been absolutely incredible today. All the way up the Croix de Fer he set the pace. He brought it down from 5 to just 3 minutes. And most of the work since then, but now enough is enough. As he starts the climb of the Col de Telegraph, Kirienka has gone. Now Sergio Henao went a lot earlier when he'd done no work at the front, so he's gone off the back. Now we'll see how it all works out. Contador, riding like we used to know this man, has won the Tour twice, dancing through the pack.
Well, I'll tell you one thing, he didn't have any bottles on his bike once he changed. He didn't take the bottle off his bike that he left at the side of the road, but there's a bottle there right now.
There is.
Magic.
Magic, just popped up on his bike frame. So, and there's how it happened. You forgot this, Alberto. Right, I'll take it.
Well, the referees will have a quick look at that, because theoretically the rules say that once you've gone past the sign for the start of the King of the Mountains point, you're not supposed to take on board bottles. But we have to admit that the race referees have made one or two sketchy decisions, Phil, throughout the course of this year's event. But, you know, I think the guys in that group, they've actually slowed down a fraction. They're probably quite happy that Alberto Contador's men are not on the front dictating the pace anymore, so that would allow Alberto Contador to get himself back into that group.
The road surface cracked up there from the snows of the winter on that right-hand bend. And there's the tail of that group. 19 riders in just now.
Michael Matthews being left from the yellow jersey group. That's not too much of a surprise.
No, he probably knows by now that he's the next green jersey in the Tour de France, so he's going to be wanted at the podium tonight. And he was making terrific progress anyway in that competition. With the loss of Marcel Kittel, as Contador rejoins, made it look pretty easy, and they have eased on the pace here.
Well, I don't think that will have cost him too much energy, really, because it was his team doing all of the pacemaking. I think everybody else in this group, Phil, are now rather happy that, first of all, Jarlins and Pantano disappeared, and then, of course, Bauke Mollema didn't continue with that incessant pace, allowing Contador to come back. This is Bryce Ferlou on the front, on the right-hand side. Serge Powell's in the black and white jersey there of Dimension Data.
Now, I noticed that UAE have put one man in amongst these Sky Riders for quite a while now, and I'm not too sure what he's trying to do up there. Well, he seems to have gone anyway now.
It's now left up to, as Christian alluded to before, the three Michaels. Michael Kwiatkowski, Mikel Landa and Mikel Nieve. The three right-hand men now for Chris Froome on the slopes of this car. He's got the right men with him, that's for sure.
Well, there's the peloton. We've lost Pinot and Kittel today that we know of. 171 riders left in the Tour de France. They face up now the Col de Telegraph. Well, we're just watching here. A little bit of a surprise, this one, because we're losing Guillaume Martin from the Wanty team there, the youngster who's been impressing quite a lot on the mountains, but these long climbs are very, very severe. Nicholas Roach also dropped, and Volgren, the Astana teammate of Aru, also dropped. Of Aru.
Yeah, that's going to make it a little difficult for Fabio Aru a little later on, because he'll find himself just slightly isolated. Still, we've got the three powerful riders here from Team Sky on the front end of this main field, quite happy to dictate the pacemaking. I just spotted Damiano Caruso on the far side. He's the best placed rider from Team BMC Racing. He's inside of the top 10 in the overall standing, starts the day in 9th place. It's really up to all of the others, but now it's Bauke Mollema with the leading group here. He's already won himself a stage, and look what he's done to that group, Phil. It started the bottom of this climb, 24 riders strong. I can see Primož Roglic there in 5th, 6th position there in the black and yellow jersey.
Here's all the leaders. There's 13 now. Contador, Ferlou, Powell, Mollema, Navarro, Frank, Roglic, Moignard and Gautier, Atapuma, Bettiol and Fink. Bettiol is the rider 4th in line as we look at the pictures here now.